Tensions are growing between China and India over a border dispute in the Himalayas. The Indian army says its senior military officials are meeting with their Chinese counterparts after 3 of its soldiers were killed during what India calls a violent face-off with Chinese troops. It happened in this disputed area where there have been reports of a military buildup for weeks. The Indian army says there were casualties on the Chinese side as well. Sam Kiley joins us now to kind of break down this story for us, because it's not often that you hear that this type of conflict results in deaths and such a serious development. What happened and what has China's reaction been?
Well, Hala, this relates to what they call the line of actual control that separates China from India along a 3,500-kilometre stretch of territory. Like so many of these other lines of control elsewhere in the world, it involves a border dispute. And on that border, over the last couple of months in particular, there have been rising tensions as each side has accused the other of trying to seize ground, patrolling into each other's acknowledged space, if you like, crossing the line effectively. And 2 nights ago, the Chinese say that the Indians conducted an incursion into what they call their territory, and there was some kind of physical fight between these 2 groups of soldiers, the Chinese and the Indians. Interestingly and very significantly, they did not involve firearms, but on the Indian side, a colonel and 2 other ranks soldiers were killed. The Indian officials have been saying they were killed with what they're calling batons, in other words, clubs, and possibly rocks, in what is clearly a very violent physical altercation. The Indians have said that the Chinese have suffered casualties on their side, and the Chinese officials out of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have called on India to back off. In their view, this is all and entirely provoked by the Indians. There's no evidence for that, of course. We don't know who started it. But the issue is, as far as the Chinese are concerned, they want to get back to talks to try to de-escalate what has been going on in this very long, high-altitude border area between the 2 countries. And, of course, Hala, they're both nuclear powers now. Back in '75, they had violent clashes, very, very violent clashes nearly 50 years ago or so in the 60s. But those 2 countries were much smaller in terms of their potential power and global influence back then. And nowadays, of course, both of these countries are powerful global players economically and nuclear powers, Hala.